Happy Monday to all my folks out there. I am Erica, the host of Mindful Moment with Give a Sister a Hug. And I want to thank you for joining me on this Monday morning. And I hope you're doing good. This week's episode is sponsored by Marie's Aroma Bees nonprofit organization. You can find them on Instagram at Marie's Aroma Bees nonprofit, or you can visit their website at mariesaromabeesnp.com. So this week we're going to talk about borderline personality disorder. This is a great topic for me because this is a topic that we're touching with our young adults, our children, and adolescents. So let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead on and share my screen. So I share my screen all the time because I want people to see where I'm reading from, and it may be information that they need to jot down. So first slide up is our pretty logo. Mindful Moment will give a sister a hug. What is borderline personality disorder? Term used to describe a pattern of experience that often begins in young adulthood and could cause difficulty in many areas, including friends, family, and school. A pattern. Something's going on. Suffer from borderline personality disorder. BPD looks different for different people. That means it looks different from one adolescent to another one. About 1 in 3% of teens are diagnosed with BPD. According to APA, there is a 3-to-1 female to male ratio. So that means 3 females will be diagnosed with BPD, where to one male. Symptoms vary. Symptoms varies from person to person, and not everyone will BPD will experience all of them. Symptoms usually appear in teenage years and early adulthood. Some of the symptoms are feeling worthless, insecure, and self-harm and self-isolation. Let's stop there a minute. As many of you know, I work at a local children's hospital here in New Orleans. And self-harm is one of the things that I see a lot. Self-harm is the way that they release the pain that they're feeling. So parents, if we see any of our children or adolescents cutting themselves, it's the smaller things. They can take a toothbrush and shave it down, or they can take a plastic spoon and shave it down and cut themselves, or using a knife or anything sharp to cut themselves to release the pain, and the pain is blood. So it's important when we start seeing these kind of symptoms in our kids and our children and adolescents, it's time for us to start having these sit down talks. And I know parents, it is hard to sit down and talk to our teenagers these days. Yes, it's very hard, but we need to have these conversations because we just never know if they're experiencing borderline personality disorder or this just normal adolescent behavior. And that leads us right to who's diagnosed with it. Now, diagnosing one with BPD is not something, a simple test that exists where the determine young adults has BPD, and often the symptoms are confused. The BPD symptoms are confused with normal adolescent behavior. They could just be acting out, or they could just be feeling, down. But we always have to keep an eye out because we just never know what's going on with our teens. It's very important that we sit down and talk to our teens. Even like I put down here, seek PCP or mental health professional because they can help us to figure out what's going on with our teenagers. Now, if your teen has been diagnosed, treatment, everything can be treated. Treatment for borderline personality disorder is D, DP, D, DBT. It's simple talk therapy. Well, affected BPD treatment works to uncover and heal trauma experience. So sometimes they may be going through some kind of trauma. So sitting down talking, talk therapy helps a lot because you get to find out what's exactly going on with them. You get to find out what they're feeling, how they feeling, what their moods are like. Because sometimes that can help because simple sitting down talking to them can help. Sometimes we don't need a therapy. If we would just take 5 minutes, mamas, and I plead with you, take 5 minutes to sit down with our children and adolescents. It's so much that you can learn from them. And sometimes just a small talking can help them because some of them thinking about suicide. And suicide rate is raising, high. So that's why it's important that we have these regular conversations, especially with our teens, because there's so much that they're dealing with peer pressure. They dealing with their genders. They dealing with a lot that we didn't deal with before in the past. So it's important. Talk therapy helps everyone. Talk therapy helps at children and adolescents and adults. Because if we can talk about it, we can get it off our chest. And that's all it takes for some of our teenagers. Some may need a little more help, but some it's just to talk because they feel like they're alone with whatever they're dealing with. And parents, we have to make it to where they're comfortable with talking to us about anything. And I know it's some things that we may not want to talk to them about, but hey, we got to have those hard conversations because they're dealing with a lot too, just like we are. So here's some resource information that I have for you if you know your teen, your child friend, your neighbor daughter, or whomever they may be thinking about suicide. Let's get them on a suicide prevention line, mental health line. We have all this information here, and I need you guys to pass it on to our teens to help them because we just never know what they're experiencing. So I'm here. I'm not a licensed physician, but I am here to share what's going on with mental health, bringing awareness to mental health, and especially in our teens today. So, parents, I urge you to sit down and have these conversations with our teenagers. It may not be what we want to hear, but it's what we need to hear because we need to get them help. Because so many teens are dealing with depression and we got to stop it. Suicide rate in our teens are rising. So have that conversation with them and let's get them some help. So thank you for tuning in to Mindful Moment. We'll give a sister a hug and just remember that you're not alone. I'm here with you and we're going to get through this together.